Hello everybody, it's Donaylle from Woosah Holistic Health Coaching. I just wanted to get together with you guys today and just do a little bit of story time. Man, life for the last maybe 8-9 years has been crazy for me and for my family. We've been through a lot, but I know that I'm not alone in that, and so I thought we could talk about how these Woosah principles have really impacted my ability to be a survivor and even a thriver through tragedy and turbulence and unexpected loss and trauma. If I can do it, you can do it. But one thing I know for sure is I could not have done it had I not walked my talk. 1 year ago today, I lost my husband, and he very unexpectedly, I think, I'm not exactly sure exactly what happened, but I'm assuming because he had found out recently that he had a blood clot and he did not have the best heart. One thing I believe caused the other, and I happened to be out of town working, out of state, out of the country working actually. We were back living in Mexico at the time, and I was working in Michigan. I was still flying back from Mexico to see clients that I'd had for a long time doing their hair when I got that phone call that nobody wants. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what can cause us to survive through some of the most trialsome time periods. But one of the things that for sure helped me is my spirituality. You've heard me mention it. You've heard me mention it several times already. But when it comes to our mental health, our physical health, and our emotional health, spirituality is not optional. Biblically based, again, happy are those conscious of their spiritual need. We were created with a spiritual need. And again, if you don't believe in that, just don't listen to me. Don't follow me, because I'm always going to bring up stuff that's spiritual. So if I were to try to go through this process of this wildly unexpected situation, I would never have been able to thrive, survive, none of that. I've seen the most horrible grieving when someone loses a spouse. I've seen it. A friend actually had it happen not too many months before I went through it. So I know what it looks like when we don't use certain principles in order to sort of being able to control our process to be a bit less savage. And so I just want to share that because it really did help. And I'm pretty proud of the fact that I was able to get through this past year with so many new things thrown at me. I mean, so many things I've never done before, never even thought about before. Because when I was a young girl getting married the first time, I was leaving my father's house. So I didn't know anything about setting up utilities or, getting your first house or your first apartment. We rented a house at the time. What happens when things break down? What are you supposed to do about it? I didn't deal with any of that stuff because I went straight from a father to a husband at the time who was a handyman builder, so he knew how to fix stuff anyway. And so I never dealt with so many things until this past year. And so it's interesting because I've been asking my holistic clients, when January was approaching, I said, hey, the whole world is out there planning for their New Year's resolutions and what are they going to improve upon next year. But you know how it is. People are like, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds or whatever. And they're in the gym like crazy people in January. And by the end of February, the gym lot is empty. So I don't do New Year's resolutions, although I do try to level up just all the time and just always try to work on myself. But I did say to my clients, what do you think you could do next year as we're approaching a new year to just feel more proud of yourself? So I thought that would be kind of an interesting thing to talk about when I think about all of the different ways that I did things that I never even considered that I could. So last January, the 25th, like I said, lost my husband. But what came after is what was so crazy. Now, I mean, I've never had to bury a husband. I don't know how to do this. But the one thing that I did do that was life-saving was accept help. I had so many people rally around me. There was these 3 women in particular that came to my house the night I flew back from the States back to Mexico, and they just kind of they never left my side. I think they were with me for maybe like 8 days, and we were just trying to sort out business. There's so much business that happens when you lose somebody that I would have never known about. There was a gentleman who dealt with like the funeral home and all of those things that I know nothing about, especially in another country. My Spanish is subpar. So he gathered more people that would be better, more fluent communicators, helping with talking to just so many different people that fluent Spanish would have been required, and I couldn't do it, and I couldn't go there anyway. Accepting help became huge because now I'm in a situation where I'm going to move back to the United States. I moved there as 4 people, and I was moving back to the States as 1 person. My kids had already come back. So I'm like, oh my word, I just bought this brand new king size bed, and oh my word, I just bought this refrigerator because the last condo didn't have one and the new condo had one. So I had this new fridge, new bed. We had this opening in our kitchen, and it just was kind of an eyesore. So I found this beautiful wine refrigerator that fit perfectly in that spot and matched the wood and matched the stainless steel. So we had that, but it was brand new, and just so many other things that we had been purchasing to make our condo beautiful and comfortable. So now I've got to sell everything. I've got to go talk to the people who rented us this condo and explain the situation of why I want to break the lease and move back. And they were amazing because they said I was so forthcoming. They even blessed me with a month of free rent. I don't even know why. I just said a thank you prayer and was grateful. Trying to figure out I literally had to get rid of almost all of my wardrobe, because how are you going to bring back your wardrobe by yourself in addition to all your other stuff? You can't. So I gave away almost all my clothes, almost all my belongings, the furniture that we had purchased, the appliances, it all had to go. So that was so overwhelming, but having help and making sure that I received it and I said yes when people offered, instead of being like, no, I got this, which by the way would have kept me so in my masculine energy, which would have torn me to shreds when it came to my nervous system. My nervous system was going through enough. The last thing I needed was to add even more of a pileup by refusing people's help. So I'm really proud of that. Trying to get my son, who had been living with his dad, reset up with me, get him enrolled in a new high school, move into an area that I've never been, find us a place to live, figure out what my husband who died, he had set up all of our stuff in storage in a place that I'd never been. I didn't even know what was in there. I didn't even know what we owned. I didn't even know what I was still going to need to purchase. How to get rid of things that were no longer necessary. It was crazy overwhelming. But somebody gave me the suggestion, you've got friends there in South Carolina, you've lived there before. Why don't you just talk to somebody and let them know what's going on? So I'm like, I don't know how he would feel if I did that. My husband had this thing about not wanting to ask people to help you move, because what if somebody get a back injury or hurt themselves and you'd be responsible? So I had to process that and just be like, no, I need help. So I did accept help from a gentleman who basically told me, look, we will move you. We will move you. I got this. I will go pick up the truck. I will go rent the stuff. You tell us where the address is to this storage place. I had to figure that out. I will rally some people together. It's going to be hot that day, so everybody's going to show up by 8 a.m. and we're going to move you in. I think it was done by lunchtime. They were putting things together and setting things up, and it was amazing. So at that time, I didn't have my son yet. He was visiting his sister. So I was able to get things all set up. So by the time he did get here to South Carolina from Michigan, we were already set up. And I'm just so grateful, because when I was looking at everything, his death happened in January, but I had to move in March. I'm like, how am I going to do this by myself in this short amount of time? And just haul all this stuff, even just like just trying to figure out how to carry all the bags. I had to be skinny things down enough that I could handle my own bags. So you can only imagine how little I was able to bring back to the States with me and then have to start over again. So I'm just so proud that I got on the other side of something that's just looked impossible. It was like this giant mountain, and like, how am I gonna climb this thing with all this stuff on my back by myself? And so why am I telling you this? To whine and complain? Absolutely not. I'm trying to tell you that you can triumph in the most crazy trials, but so much of it has to do with your mindset. Like I said, I'm a spiritual person, so if there was a whole lot of prayer, that kind where you're begging and supplicating and you're saying like, I need you, please, guide me and tell me what to do. Because at the bottom line is, for so many things, I didn't know what to do. Because like I said, when I first got married originally, I was leaving my father's house, so my father took care of business. I didn't know any of that stuff. I remember when I got to this place, they were talking to me about how to set up my utilities and how to set up cable and the internet, and I was like glazing over, because whenever I was married, the husband always took care of that stuff. So I'm like, I have a lot of gifts, but that is not one of them. But it all got done. So if you've went through divorce and you're suddenly with 3 minor kids like I was, by yourself trying to just do all this new stuff, you're gonna figure it out. You will figure it out. It will get done. Please keep your chin up, stay positive, and don't let those negative noises take over your brain and shut you down. Because truthfully, I could have been rocking in a corner crying nonstop, but I didn't have time for that. There's no time for that when you're in a situation like that. And like my sister always says, and she and I are both in the beauty background, so we tend to say stuff is not cute. The idea of me just sobbing and rocking in a corner, getting nothing done, was not cute to me. I did not want to be that girl. So I just wasn't going to be that girl. So then the next thing, you're dealing with a death and you've never had to do anything like that, plan a funeral. I mean, I've never had to do that, figure out how to write an obituary and who's going to do this and who's going to speak and what do you do about food and the people flying in. Like, there was a lot going on. So the Woosah principles that I teach in holistic health coaching, when I tell you I had to walk my talk, I had to walk my talk, and it works. Because the thing of it is, we have a choice about so many things. I did a short TikTok a while back about stress and anxiety. People think that's like a condition, and they're like, oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I am stressed out. But the truth of the matter is, stress and anxiety is not something we have. It's something that we do. So, for example, today being the 1-year anniversary of my husband's death, what did I do? I took care of my spirituality, and I went to a special seminar, like a ministry training. I go once a year. This one happened to be today. And I'm just so grateful that I had a place to put my brain. I had a place to focus. I had a place to tap into something that connects you to more love, more joy, more peace. And it was very, very helpful to have something to do. And then even with this, like today, I was like, I don't know what I want to talk about. I don't know, should I bring it up? But at the end of the day, if I'm being real and if I'm being raw and I'm telling you about my life and my business, which is, they're all connected, that's what's going on. That's what happened today. That is what I was doing today. And I just really didn't, I literally told one person who didn't know today's the anniversary of my husband's death. One person. I didn't dwell on it. I didn't go on and on about it. I didn't let myself go down a negative rabbit hole. I tried to just, with intention, choose the most high vibrating thoughts that I could and just keep thinking positive, be proud of what I've been able to do and get through this year. Was it pretty how I got through this year? I'm sure I screwed up a whole bunch of stuff. I lost money. People stole from me. I got tricked. Because again, my husband would have been taking care of certain things like setting up housing. I didn't know that just because a house is for rent or whatever online, that sometimes they're going to steal your money and not give you the house. I know now. There's so many things, the mistakes that I made, but I don't really want to look at it as a failure, because I mean, I learned a whole bunch of stuff, and I did a whole bunch of stuff for the first time. And yeah, that's where it's at. I'm still focusing on love. I'm still focusing on joy. I'm still focusing on how do I keep my peace mentally, because here's the thing. My job is to help other people with their mental, their emotional, their spiritual, and their physical. So what do I look like completely falling apart? I can't even work. I can't help them. I can't give them anything to be inspired by, because I'm not walking my talk. I'm not showing them that this stuff actually works, and it does. So I just want to share that, because I'm not the only person that is a widow. I'm not the only person that's a divorcee. I'm not the only person that's dealt with betrayal and loss and whatever. Of course, there's probably millions of people globally that have dealt with all of that stuff. I survived, so can you. So can you. And don't forget, your spirituality is going to be huge. Can't get through it without that, unless, you want to just be a hot mess going through it. But spirituality actually did play a huge part. But again, what are you proud of so far this year? January's not even over yet. And I have to say, already I feel proud of the way I've entered into a new time period, a new year, because the odds were not stacked in my favor. The odds were definitely not stacked in my favor. So guys, be optimistic. Life is for living. So no matter what's happened, live fully, live with excitement, dream, plan, come up with things that you want to do and pursue, and then do it. Don't just live these tiny little lives and just complaining and whining about all the hard stuff. Everybody's got hard stuff, guys. But the thing of it is what are we focused on? Are we only focused about the hard? Because guess what? We'll attract more hard. Trust and believe me. You will attract where you're at. So if you're negative, you'll attract more negativity. If you're grateful, you're going to attract more things to be grateful for. If you're appreciative, you're going to find more things to appreciate. That's where I want to live, because that sounds like more fun to me than just being miserable, rocking in a corner somewhere, complaining about the shoulda, woulda, couldas, and all of that stuff. What's done is done. Those of us who still have our lives, let's live them purposefully and with intention and with gratitude and just so much optimism for tomorrow. And let's decide to have a good life, and let's decide to have a good day. I one of my friends said, my dad used to say to me as a child, don't say, I hope you have a good day today. He would say, make sure you make today great. And that's what I wake up doing every day. I decide, I choose, and then I do the things that are in alignment with that choice. Making sure that I'm not saying I want to have a good day and then doing all the things negative that would make that impossible. That doesn't make sense. That's not embodiment. That's not alignment. And that is definitely not to be a high frequency person, a high vibration person where love, joy, and peace reside. That's where I want to hang out, because that's when life is more enjoyable. So even though you may have lost a husband through divorce, you may have lost a husband in death, you may be a single mother, and things may not be the easiest, you can do this. And don't forget to ask for help if you need it. There are people that are willing to do it. I definitely found that out. People are sometimes way better about helping than you even realize. Sometimes it's not people, it's us and our pride, maybe our ego, wanting to be able to say, I did it all by myself and I didn't need nobody and all that. By the way, masculine energy. What does that do again? Dump cortisol, mess up your adrenal glands, and mess up your nervous system. I'm not trying to do that. So please, if you are going through trial, tragedy, you can be triumphant. Please keep watching these videos, because the video content will show you how. There's always going to be something in there that's going to impact your mental, emotional, and physical health, and really impact it in a positive way. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Like I said, I didn't plan what I was going to talk about. It's all just kind of real and raw, and whatever comes out, comes out. I hope it helps somebody. And again, just don't forget to woosah. Bring in that peace, breathe, bring in that calm, because in an agitated body, healing cannot take place. So that's what I want to say to you today. Good night and woosah.